Welcome to our Lebanon channel. Lebanese Sunni Muslims refers to Lebanese people who are adherents of the Sunni branch of Islam in Lebanon, which is one of the largest denomination in Lebanon tied with Shia Muslims. Sunni Islam in Lebanon has a history of more than a millennium. According to a CIA study, Lebanese Sunni Muslims constitute an estimated 30.6% of Lebanon's population. The Lebanese Sunni Muslims are concentrated in West Beirut, Tripoli, Sidon, western Bekaa, and in the countryside of the Akkar. Under the terms of an unwritten agreement known as the National Pact between the various political and religious leaders of Lebanon, Sunni notables traditionally held power in the Lebanese state together, and they are still the only ones eligible for the post of Prime Minister. Contents: History. An estimate of the distribution of Lebanon's main religious groups, 1991, based on a map by globalsecurity.org. Lebanon religious groups distribution. An estimate of the area distribution of Lebanon's main religious groups origins. The cultural and linguistic heritage of the Lebanese people is a blend of both indigenous Phoenician elements, Arab culture and the foreign cultures that have come to rule the land and its people over the course of thousands of years. In a 2013 interview, the lead investigator, Pierre Zaloua, pointed out that genetic variation preceded religious variation and divisions. Lebanon already had well-differentiated communities with their own genetic peculiarities, but not significant differences, and religions came as layers of paint on top. There is no distinct pattern that shows that one community carries significantly more Phoenician than another. Genealogical DNA testing has shown that 27.7% of Lebanese Muslims, non-Druze, belong to the Y-DNA haplogroup J1. Although there is common ancestral roots, these studies show some difference was found between Muslims and non-Muslims in Lebanon, of whom only 17.1% have this haplotype. As haplogroup J1 finds its putative origins in the Arabian Peninsula, this likely means that the lineage was introduced by Arabs beginning at the time of the 7th century Muslim conquest of the Levant and has persisted among the Muslim population ever since. On the other hand, only 4.7% of all Lebanese Muslims belong to haplogroup R1b, compared to 9.6% of Lebanese Christians. Modern Muslims in Lebanon thus do not seem to have a significant genetic influence from the Crusaders, who probably introduced this common Western European marker to the extant Christian populations of the Levant when they were active in the region from 1096 until around the turn of the 14th century. Haplogroup J2 is also a significant marker in throughout Lebanon, 27%. This marker found in many inhabitants of Lebanon, regardless of religion, signals pre-Arab descendants, including the Phoenicians. These genetic studies show us there is no significant differences between the Muslims and non-Muslims of Lebanon. Relations with Saudi Arabia. The Sunnis of Lebanon have close ties with Saudi Arabia, which supports them financially. Moreover, Tripoli, the stronghold of the Lebanese Sunnis, is also the birthplace of Lebanon's Salafi movement. With Lebanese Alawites and Syria, the Lebanese Sunni Muslims initially opposed the creation of the Lebanese state separated from Syria, where the majority of the population was also Sunni Muslim, and wanted the territory of present-day Lebanon to be incorporated within the so-called Greater Syria. Sunni Muslims and Alawites have been in conflict with each other for centuries. The Alawites of the Levant were oppressed by the Sunni Ottoman Empire, but gained power and influence when the French recruited Alawites as soldiers during the French Mandate of Syria. After independence from France, their co-religionists the Assad family came to power in Syria in 1970. Over the years, there have been numerous clashes between the Sunni and Alawi communities in Tripoli, particularly over the past 14 months since Syria's uprising began, as part of the Arab Spring that started in Tunisia. The deadliest exchange took place last June, when 7 people were killed and more than 60 wounded, after Sunni Muslims staged a protest against the Syrian government. At the best of times, the Alawites are regarded by Sunnis as heretics. At times of tension, when thousands of Sunnis in Syria are being killed, they are regarded as the enemy. And when a popular Salafist figure is strangely abducted and arrested by Lebanon's General Security Service, an organization linked to the Hezbollah militia that, in turn, is linked to the Syrian government, the Alawites become the whipping boys. Geographic distribution within Lebanon. Lebanese Sunni Muslims are concentrated in cities of West Beirut, Tripoli, Sidon, and in North Lebanon in the Akkar and Munir Dini districts, Middle and West Bekaa, Chuf district and Lakluk in Mount Lebanon, Hasbaya district, and northeastern Bekaa Valley, mainly in and around the city of Arsal. Demographics. Lebanese Sunni Muslims year percent 1932 22%, 1985 27%, 2012 27%. The last census in Lebanon in 1932 put the numbers of Sunnis at 22% of the population, 178,100 of 791,700. A study done by the Central Intelligence Agency (CIA) in 1985 put the numbers of Sunnis at 27% of the population, 595,000 of 2,228,000. Sunni Muslims constitute 27% of Lebanon's population, according to a 2012 estimate. Lebanese Sunnite-born notables, activists and journalists Inbara Salam Khalidi, a feminist, translator and author, who significantly contributed to the emancipation of Arab women. Amal Clooney, a London-based British-Lebanese lawyer, activist, and author. Her father is Druze, while her mother is Sunni. Nala Chahal, writer, journalist, researcher, and activist. Artist Omar al-Zani, satirical poet, often dubbed as Voltaire of the Arabs. Randa Chahal Sabag, film director, producer and screenwriter. Suzanne Taman, the late singer Fadl Shaker, singer Waleed Tufik, singer. Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more video.